The phone slips in her grip. Sweat from a double shift makes everything harder to hold: the phone, her composure, the lie she's about to tell her son. Through the bakery window, she can see her car in the parking lot, the check engine light that's been on for 3 weeks, the bald tire she can't afford to replace. Her son's voice crackles through the speaker, asking about the cake, the one with the baseball player mid-pitch that he's been talking about since he circled it in the catalog. She opens her mouth and the words come out smooth, practiced, the kind of lie that mothers tell when love costs more than they have. Yes, baby. I got it. The big one. His whoop of joy splits her chest open. She ends the call before he can hear her voice break, before he can sense the weight of what's about to happen. The woman behind the counter already knows. Small towns are small. Everyone recognizes the particular set of shoulders that comes with choosing between your child's happiness and keeping the water running. The baker doesn't ask questions. She just nods, marks something in her book, and slides $20 across the scarred wooden counter. 3 feet away, a man in a suit that costs more than her monthly rent stops pretending to read the menu board. He's been standing there for 5 minutes, close enough to hear everything, far enough to maintain the fiction of privacy. His phone has been buzzing in his pocket like an angry wasp. He ignores it. His calendar says he should be in a boardroom right now, closing a deal that would make the business journals write headlines. Instead, he's in a bakery in a town whose name he'll forget, watching a woman in scrubs pocket $20 like it's fragile, like it might evaporate if she's not careful. He knows that gesture. He's seen it before, 27 years ago, watching his mother count change at a grocery store checkout while other customers sighed behind her in line. He knows the exact angle of shame in the woman's shoulders, the specific way she won't meet anyone's eyes as she turns toward the door. His therapist's voice echoes in his head, the one from yesterday's session: "You've built walls between yourself and genuine human connection. When was the last time you let yourself feel something that wasn't mediated by a screen or a quarterly report?" The door chimes. The woman is leaving. He has maybe 8 seconds to decide what kind of person he is, the kind who witnesses suffering and does nothing because it's not his problem, or the kind who acts even when it's inconvenient, even when it makes no logical sense. His ex-wife used to say he calculated everything, that he turned his heart into a spreadsheet. Maybe she was right. Maybe that's why she left. Maybe that's why he eats alone in expensive restaurants and can't remember the last time he laughed at something that wasn't a punchline delivered by a comedian on a streaming service. He moves before the decision fully forms. His hand is on the counter, his wallet already out, and the baker is looking at him with an expression somewhere between suspicion and understanding. The words that come out sound wrong, too formal, like he's negotiating a contract instead of trying to help a stranger. The order she just canceled. I want to pay for it. The baker's hand freezes halfway to the register. I can't just. I'll pay double. Triple. Whatever it takes. He's fumbling this, he can tell. The baker's face is shutting down, protective instincts kicking in, small-town solidarity against outsiders who think money solves everything. He tries again, his voice lower, more desperate. Please. I'm not trying to, I just want to help. No strings. No publicity. Just let me do this one thing. She'll know something's wrong. She'll ask questions. Then I'll answer them. The baker studies him for a long moment. Whatever she sees makes her sigh. She went to her car. Silver sedan, dent in the passenger door. You've got maybe 2 minutes before she drives away. He's outside before he can second-guess himself, scanning the parking lot, spotting the car just as the engine turns over. He moves fast, his dress shoes slipping slightly on gravel, and knocks on the driver's window before she can shift into reverse. She startles, her hand flying to her chest, and for a horrible moment he realizes how this looks: a strange man in an empty parking lot, approaching a woman alone. He steps back, raises both hands, tries to look non-threatening even though his heart is hammering and sweat is soaking through his expensive shirt. She rolls the window down 3 inches. Her eyes are red. Can I help you? I was in the bakery. I heard. He stops, seeing her face change, walls slamming into place. I'm sorry, that sounds terrible. I wasn't eavesdropping, I just happened to hear, and I wanted to. You wanted to what? Her voice could cut glass. Swoop in and save the poor single mother? Make yourself feel good about your charity? No. Yes. Maybe. He runs a hand through his hair, aware he's botching this spectacularly. I don't know what I wanted. I just couldn't leave without trying to help. I don't need help. But her hands are shaking on the steering wheel, betraying her. I don't need your pity or your money or whatever guilt you're trying to assuage. My mother was a nurse's aide. The words come out in a rush. She raised me alone. I watched her cancel my birthday party when I was 10 because she couldn't afford it. I watched her work herself into an early grave trying to give me things she could never afford. She died 3 weeks before I made enough money to pay her back for any of it. His voice cracks. He doesn't try to hide it. So maybe this is about guilt. Maybe this is selfish. But your son shouldn't have to pretend he doesn't want a birthday party to make you feel better about not being able to afford it. Her breath hitches. Direct hit. He feels like he's kicked a wounded animal, but sometimes truth is cruel before it's kind. She's not looking at him anymore. She's staring straight ahead through the windshield, her jaw working, tears streaming down her face in a way that makes his chest ache. You don't know anything about me, she whispers. I know enough. I know you're trying to hold everything together alone. I know you just lied to your son because you love him too much to disappoint him. I know that in 3 days, he's going to have a birthday without a cake, and he's going to pretend it's fine, and you're both going to carry that moment for years. He crouches down so he's at eye level with her window. Let me help. Not because you need saving, but because I need to do something that matters. Something real. Something I can see instead of just numbers on a report. She turns to look at him finally, really look at him, and he feels seen in a way that's uncomfortable and necessary. Why do I get help when thousands of other women are in the same situation? What makes me special? Nothing. Everything. I don't know. He's being honest at least. Maybe it's random. Maybe it's luck. Maybe it's just that I happened to be standing in that bakery at the exact moment you were canceling the cake, and I happen to have the means to do something about it, and I'm choosing to act instead of walking away. Does the randomness make it wrong? It makes it feel like charity. What if it's not charity? What if it's just one person helping another person because he can, because he remembers what it felt like to be the kid whose birthday got quietly erased? He stands back up, gives her space. I'm staying at the hotel near the highway. Room 214. If you change your mind, come find me. If you don't, I'll understand. But I'm going back into that bakery right now and ordering the biggest baseball cake they have. What you do with that information is up to you. He walks away before she can respond, his heart pounding so hard he can feel it in his throat. He's halfway back to the bakery entrance when he hears the car door open behind him. Wait. He turns. She's standing beside her car, her arms wrapped around herself like she's trying to hold something in. Or maybe keep something out. If I say yes, and I'm not saying I am, but if I did, what would you want in return? Nobody does something for nothing. I want to stop feeling like a machine. The admission surprises him with its rawness. I want to remember what it's like to care about something that isn't a profit margin or a market share. I want to do one thing that my mother would be proud of instead of just naming buildings after her and pretending that's the same as actually being the kind of person she raised me to be. She takes 3 steps toward him, stops. I have conditions. Okay. I help plan whatever this is. This doesn't happen to me, it happens with me. I'm not a project or a charity case or a story you tell at cocktail parties. Her voice is steadier now, anger burning through the tears. Second, nothing insane. No helicopters or ponies or whatever rich people think normal kids want. Just a regular party that happens to be nice. Third, she pauses, her jaw tight. Third, if you're doing this to feel better about yourself, fine. But don't lie to me about it. Don't pretend you're doing it for my son when really you're doing it for you. He absorbs this like a physical blow. She's right. Of course she's right. He's been lying to himself since the moment he opened his wallet, wrapping selfishness in the language of altruism. You're right. This is about me. About trying to be someone I'm not sure I am anymore. About trying to fill a hole that's been empty since my mother died. He meets her eyes. But that doesn't mean your son doesn't get a birthday party. Can both things be true? She studies him for a long moment. What's your name? Does it matter? If you're going to be involved in my son's life, even for a day, I need to know who you are. He tells her. Watches recognition flicker across her face. She's seen the name in news articles, business sections, the kind of headlines that appear when companies go public or foundations donate millions. Her expression hardens. Of course. Of course she laughs, but there's no humor in it. This is exactly the kind of thing people like you do. Swoop into small towns, throw money at problems, feel good about yourselves, then disappear back to your real lives. Maybe. Probably. He won't insult her with denials. But your son still gets a birthday party. Does my being a cliché make the cake taste worse? She opens her mouth to respond, then closes it. Opens it again. I hate that you have a point. I hate that I have to make it. He shoves his hands in his pockets. Look, I know how this looks. I know what I am, rich guy trying to assuage guilt by playing hero in someone else's story. But I also know your son is turning 10 in 3 days, and right now he thinks he's getting a cake, and 3 days from now he's going to learn he's not. And that's going to hurt both of you in ways that last longer than one birthday. Stop. Her voice breaks. Stop weaponizing my son against me. I'm not, but he is. He knows he is. He's using her love for her child as leverage, pushing on the exact pressure point that will make her say yes even though everything else in her is screaming no. His therapist would call this manipulation. His business partners would call it negotiation. The line between the two has always been thinner than he wanted to admit. I'm sorry, he says, and means it. You're right. That was unfair. She wipes her face with her palms, smearing mascara she probably put on 12 hours ago at the start of her shift. If I say yes, I need to know this ends. You don't get to keep inserting yourself into our lives. You don't get to become some permanent fixture my son gets attached to who then disappears when you get bored or remember you have a real life to get back to. The words hit harder than they should. Understood. And I pay you back. Eventually. When I can. I don't care if it takes years. That's not necessary. It's necessary for me. Her voice is steel. I don't take handouts. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your mother went through. If you want to do this, fine. But it's a loan. An interest-free loan if you want to be charitable about it, but a loan. I pay it back. He wants to argue, wants to tell her that's not how this works, that he's not doing this to get repaid. But he recognizes the look on her face, the same expression his mother wore when neighbors offered help, the particular pride that comes from having nothing except your dignity. Fighting her on this would be taking that too. Okay. A loan. We'll work out terms later. She nods sharply. Okay then. I guess we're doing this. She doesn't sound happy about it. She sounds like someone who just agreed to something against their better judgment, which is probably accurate. What's your son's name? She hesitates, like even giving him this information is too much. Why? Because I'd like to know who I'm throwing a party for. Another pause. He's 10. He plays shortstop. He wants to be a professional baseball player even though I don't have the heart to tell him the statistics on that are brutal. Her voice softens slightly. He's the best thing I've ever done. The only thing I've done that actually matters. Then let's make sure he has a birthday that matters too. He pulls out his phone. I need your number. To coordinate. She recites it like she's giving up state secrets. He types it in, sends her a text so she has his. I'll start making calls. We have 3 days. That's enough time if we move fast. This is insane. But she's pulling her own phone out, already shifting into planning mode. We'll need the community center, or maybe the baseball field if the weather holds. I can call some of the other mothers from his team, see who can help with setup. We'll need food, nothing fancy, just hot dogs and pizza. And decorations, but simple ones. And she stops, overwhelmed. True. That you'll disappear. That I'm making a mistake trusting someone I don't know. That my son will get hurt when you leave. This is too much. I can't coordinate all this while working. You don't have to coordinate it alone. That's the point. He's already typing notes into his phone. Give me names of people to contact. I'll handle logistics. You handle making sure your son doesn't find out before the party. He can't know. She's firm on this. If he knows, he'll feel guilty about the money. He'll try to tell me it's okay, we don't need to do it. He already does that, tries to protect me from my own limitations. Her voice cracks. He's 10 and he's already learned to make himself smaller so I don't feel like I'm failing him. The image this creates makes something twist in his chest. He remembers doing the same thing, remembers telling his mother he didn't really want new shoes even though his toes were cramping, remembers pretending he wasn't hungry when groceries ran low at the end of the month. Children shouldn't have to shrink themselves to fit their parents' financial constraints. Children should get to be large and demanding and confident that their needs will be met. He won't know, he promises. We'll surprise him. Tell him you're taking him to the field for practice or something. Then we'll have everything set up. She nods, but she's biting her lip, and he can see her second-guessing everything. I should go. I need to pick him up from my neighbors. She watches him after school on days I work late, and I'm all ready. She checks her watch. I'm already an hour past when I said I'd be there. Go. I'll text you later with updates. She turns back to her car, then stops. Why are you really doing this? And don't give me the thing about your mother. I want the real reason. He thinks about lying, about giving her something easy and palatable. But she asked for truth, and maybe he owes her that much. Because I'm 42 years old and I can't remember the last time I did something that made me feel human. Because I wake up every morning in an apartment that costs more per month than most people make in a year, and I eat breakfast alone while reading emails from people who need things from me. And then I go to an office where everyone wants something, and then I go home alone and do it all again the next day. Because success feels empty and I don't know how to fix that, but maybe helping someone else will trick my brain into thinking I'm not completely dead inside. The silence that follows is brutal. He said too much, exposed too much. This woman doesn't need his existential crisis dumped on top of her real problems. But when she speaks, her voice is gentler. That's the saddest thing I've heard all week. And I work with dying people. He laughs despite himself. Fair. For what it's worth, she says quietly, you don't seem dead inside. You seem like someone who forgot how to be alive and is trying to remember. She gets in her car, starts the engine. I'll wait for your call. She drives away, leaving him standing in a bakery parking lot, his phone already buzzing with ignored messages from his assistant, his calendar screaming about missed meetings and rescheduled calls. He should feel guilty about derailing his entire day for this. Instead, he feels the first spark of something resembling purpose he's experienced in months. He goes back into the bakery. The woman behind the counter is trying not to stare. So, she asks. So I need the biggest baseball cake you can make, and I need it by this Saturday at 2 p.m. Whatever the cost, add 50% and consider it a rush fee. The baker's eyebrows rise. She said yes? She said yes. Reluctantly. With conditions. But yes. He's already opening his contacts, scrolling for his assistant's number. I also need contacts for catering services in this area, party supply rentals, and anyone who might help coordinate a last-minute birthday party for a 10-year-old who deserves better than what life's given him so far. You're serious about this? Completely. The baker considers him for a moment, then pulls out a business card and scribbles something on the back. My daughter runs a catering company. Tell her I sent you. She'll give you a fair price, and she's good people. Won't spread gossip about this all over town. He takes the card, grateful for small-town networks he doesn't understand but is learning to navigate. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. If you hurt that woman or her son, this whole town will make your life hell. We take care of our own here, and she's one of ours, even if she's too proud to ask for help most of the time. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Rich people never think they're trying to hurt anyone. Doesn't mean damage doesn't happen. The baker's eyes are hard. That woman has been through hell. Her ex cleaned out their joint account and disappeared. She lost her childcare when the woman watching her son moved away. The hospital cut her hours right when her car started dying. She's been holding herself together with duct tape and pride for 8 months, and if you come in here playing savior and then vanish when this stops being entertaining, you'll break something in her that's already cracked. The weight of this responsibility settles over him like a physical thing. I understand. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you look like every other rich guy who thinks problems are solved by throwing money at them. But that woman doesn't need a hero. She needs sustainable support. She needs a system that doesn't treat her like garbage. She needs affordable childcare and decent wages and healthcare that doesn't bankrupt her. Can you fix any of that with a birthday cake? No. The admission costs him something. But I can fix this one thing. And maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. But it's what I can do right now, today, and doing something feels better than doing nothing because the systemic problems are too big to solve. The baker's expression softens slightly. All right. Make your calls. But remember what I said. This town is small, and we have long memories. He spends the rest of the afternoon in a coffee shop 3 blocks away, his laptop open, his phone pressed to his ear, coordinating logistics with an urgency usually reserved for product launches. His assistant, initially baffled by his requests, shifts into her usual efficiency once she understands he's serious. Within 2 hours, he has catering arranged, party supplies ordered for rush delivery, and a list of parents from the boys' baseball team willing to help set up. His phone buzzes with a text from her, "This is happening too fast. I'm getting scared." He types back, "Of what?" Her response takes 3 minutes, that this is too good to believe. That I'm being stupid and desperate and setting us both up for disappointment. He stares at the message, understanding the courage it took to send it. She's admitting vulnerability to a stranger, exposing fears she probably doesn't share with anyone. The easy response would be reassurance, promises he's not certain he can keep. Instead, he chooses honesty. You're not being stupid. You're being brave. And yes, I'll probably disappoint you. Most people do eventually. But your son will have a birthday party, and that part one can promise. The rest we'll figure out as we go. Her reply is immediate, "That's not comforting. Would you prefer I lie?" "No." Then we work with uncomfortable truth. Better than comfortable lies. A pause, then, "My son just asked why I'm smiling at my phone. I told him it's nothing. I'm a terrible liar." Something in his chest loosens. "Tell him you're happy." "That's not a lie. I'm not happy. I'm terrified." Both can be true. That night, he doesn't sleep. He works through darkness, refining plans, coordinating details, feeling more alive than he has in years. By dawn, he has a complete party framework, the local baseball field secured, decorations ordered in the boys' favorite team colors, food arranged for 30 kids plus parents, and a dozen volunteers confirmed to help set up. He spent more money in 18 hours than most families spend on rent, and it barely makes a dent in his account. The disparity should bother him more than it does. She texts him at 6 a.m., I'm about to go into a 12-hour shift. Please tell me you're not going overboard with this. Define overboard. Anything that costs more than a normal birthday party. And what does a normal birthday party cost? I don't know. $300? Maybe $4? He looks at his current spend, already past $2,000 and climbing. I'm keeping it reasonable. That's not an answer. It's the answer you're getting. Trust me. I don't know you well enough to trust you. Then trust that I'm not trying to hurt your son. That's enough for now. The day of the party arrives too fast and too slow. He's at the field by 10 a.m., watching volunteers transform empty diamond into celebration space. Parents he's never met treat him with cautious welcome, their eyes assessing him the way the baker did, looking for signs of threat, for evidence he's someone who can be trusted with their community's vulnerability. He works alongside them, his expensive clothes getting dirty, his hands unaccustomed to physical labor cramping from tying balloons and setting up tables. A woman in her 50s approaches him around noon. You're the one paying for all this? I'm helping. Everyone here is making this happen. Don't be modest. Half these supplies came from 2 towns over because you paid for rush delivery. The catering is from the nicest place within 50 miles. That cake, she gestures toward where the baker is carefully positioning a 3-tier monstrosity decorated with a baseball player mid-pitch. That cake costs at least $200. It's just a cake. Nothing is ever just anything. She crosses her arms. I'm her supervisor at the hospital. I've watched her work herself sick trying to make ends meet. I've covered her shifts when her son was sick and she couldn't afford to miss work. I've loaned her money she always pays back even when I tell her not to. So I'm asking you directly, what's your angle here? No angle. Just trying to help. Nobody helps this much without wanting something back. He's tired of defending his motives, tired of justifying kindness like it's suspicious behavior. Fine. You want to know what I want? I want to feel like my existence matters beyond making shareholders rich. I want to do something my mother would approve of instead of just spending money I made after she died. I want to remember what it feels like to care about something real instead of abstract. That's selfish enough for you? The woman's expression shifts. Yeah. That's honest at least. She uncrosses her arms. She talks about you, you know. Doesn't say much, but enough. Says you're complicated. Says she doesn't trust you but wants to. Says your money makes her uncomfortable but your sadness makes you human. She said that? Not in those words. But I've known her long enough to read between the lines. The woman softens. Look, I don't know what you're doing here, and I don't know how long you're staying. But that woman has been alone for a long time, and her son is a good kid who deserves better than what life's given him. If you're here for real, then good. Welcome. But if you're here because you're bored or guilty or trying to fix yourself by fixing someone else's life, then leave now before they get attached. I can't promise I won't mess this up, he admits. But I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Trying doesn't matter. Results matter. She walks away before he can respond, leaving him with the uncomfortable truth that good intentions have never been enough to prevent damage. At 1:30, his phone buzzes. We're 5 minutes away. He has no idea. He thinks we're coming for batting practice. His heart rate kicks up. Everyone's ready. The field is transformed. Banners hang between dugouts, tables groan under food, balloons cluster at every corner. 30 kids mill around with their parents, waiting. The energy is electric, anticipation crackling through spring air. He positions himself at the edge, trying to be invisible, wanting to watch without being central to the moment. Her car pulls into the lot. Through the windshield, he can see the boy in the passenger seat, wearing his baseball glove, his face animated as he talks to his mother. The car parks. They climb out. The boy is already running toward the field, his mother calling after him to slow down, both of them laughing, neither expecting what waits around the corner of the dugout. The boy rounds the corner and stops dead. His mouth falls open. The baseball glove drops from his hand. For 3 seconds, nothing moves. Then the boy's face crumples, not with sadness but with overwhelming joy, tears streaming down his cheeks as 30 kids yell surprise, as his mother kneels beside him asking if he's okay, as reality catches up to the impossible thing unfolding in front of him. Is this real? The boy's voice is small, broken with disbelief. Is this for me? His mother is crying too, nodding, unable to speak. The boy turns to her, understanding flooding his features. You didn't cancel my birthday. You were planning this. Not exactly. It's complicated. She pulls him into a hug, fierce and desperate. But yes. This is for you. Happy birthday, baby. The boy pulls back, scanning the field, his eyes landing on the cake, the decorations, the mountain of presents stacked on a table, the sheer impossible scope of celebration happening in his name. This is the best birthday ever. This is better than I even imagined. Kids swarm him then, his teammates and friends, pulling him toward the food, toward the games, toward childhood joy uncomplicated by adult understanding of cost and sacrifice. His mother stands alone for a moment, watching her son disappear into the crowd, her hand pressed against her mouth. He approaches carefully, giving her space to compose herself. You okay? She shakes her head, tears still falling. No. I'm completely overwhelmed. This is too much. This is everything. I don't know how to process this. You don't have to process it. Just let yourself feel it. I feel like I'm going to throw up from anxiety. He laughs despite himself. That's fair. She turns to look at him fully, her eyes red and raw. Why did you do all this? And don't give me the thing about your mother or feeling human. I want the real reason. The one underneath everything else. He watches her son across the field, surrounded by friends, his face incandescent with happiness. Because I spent 10 years building a company that made me rich and miserable. Because therapy hasn't fixed whatever's broken in me. Because I'm so tired of feeling nothing that feeling anything, even vicarious joy through your son's birthday, feels like oxygen after drowning. Because maybe if I can make one kid's life better for one day, I can trick myself into believing my existence isn't completely meaningless. The silence stretches. When she speaks, her voice is gentle. You need more help than I can give you. I know. But thank you. For this. For him. For remembering what it's like to be a kid whose birthday means everything. Her son runs back then, breathless and beaming, grabbing his mother's hand. Mom, you have to see the cake. It's exactly like the picture. It's perfect. Everything's perfect. She lets herself be pulled away, glancing back once with an expression he can't quite read, gratitude mixed with apprehension mixed with something that might be hope. He stays at the periphery while the party unfolds, watching children demolish food and chase each other across outfield grass, watching parents cluster in conversation, watching the boy's face cycle through expressions of pure, unguarded happiness. This is what childhood should look like. This is what his own childhood looked like in the moments his mother could afford to give him. The cake gets cut. The boy makes a wish, blows out candles, and opens presents with the frantic energy of someone who can't believe their luck. He holds up each gift like it's treasure, a new glove, cleats that actually fit, a batting helmet, team jerseys. Things his mother couldn't afford. Things that appeared because strangers decided to care. Around 4 o'clock, as the party starts winding down and parents collect their sugar-crashed children, the boy approaches him. My mom says you helped with the party. A little. Mostly everyone here helped. She says you paid for a lot of it. He glances at the mother, who's watching this interaction with careful attention. Your mom and I worked together to make sure you had a good birthday. The boy considers this, his face serious beyond his years. Why? You don't even know me. It's the same question everyone's asked, the same puzzle no one can solve. Why would a stranger invest this much in people he has no connection to? But children deserve honest answers, even when those answers are complicated. Because when I was your age, I didn't get a birthday party. My mom couldn't afford it. And I spent a long time wishing someone had helped us back then. So when I had the chance to help someone else, I took it. Does that make sense? The boy nods slowly. My mom works really hard. She's always tired. Sometimes I hear her crying in the bathroom when she thinks I'm asleep. The admission hits like a fist to the sternum. Of course the boy knows. Children always know more than parents think they do, always carry awareness of adult struggles that they're too young to process properly. Your mom is doing an amazing job, he says carefully. And you're an incredible kid. That's all her. Are you rich? The bluntness startles a laugh out of him. Yes. Like really rich? Like movie rich? Something like that. The boy processes this with the straightforward logic of childhood. Then can you help my mom more? Not just with birthdays. With regular stuff. She never buys anything for herself. She only buys stuff for me, and even then only if it's really necessary. Her car is broken and she won't fix it. She needs new shoes, but she says hers are fine even though there's a hole in the bottom. She never eats until after I eat, and sometimes I think she's pretending she's not hungry so there's more food for me. Each sentence is a knife. Each observation a window into struggle he's only glimpsed at the edges. The boy isn't asking for a handout. He's asking for his mother to be cared for with the same attention she gives to caring for him. He's asking for someone to carry some of the weight that's crushing her. I'd like to help your mom, he says slowly, aware of the mother approaching behind the boy, probably hearing everything. But help looks different for different people. Some people don't want money. Some people need different kinds of support. What I can promise is that I'm not going to disappear after today. I'm going to stick around and figure out how to make things better. Is that okay with you? The boy's face splits into a grin. Yeah. That's okay. He runs off to rejoin his friends, leaving the man alone with the mother. She's not crying anymore, but her face is carefully blank, the expression of someone holding themselves together through force of will. You can't promise him that. You can't promise you'll stick around. I just did. You don't understand what you're committing to. This isn't a one-day thing. This is my life. This is complicated and messy, and there's no easy fix. You can't just throw money at systemic poverty and expect it to disappear. I know that. But I can create opportunities. I can remove some barriers. He stops, choosing his words carefully. I have a foundation. It funds healthcare initiatives, educational programs, community support. What if we created a scholarship program specifically for single parents in healthcare who want to advance their careers? People like you who are capable but trapped by circumstances. Her laugh is sharp and brittle. Oh, so now you want to save all the struggling single mothers? I'm not special. I'm not unique. There are thousands of women in my exact situation. Why me? Because you're standing in front of me right now. Because I can't help everyone, but I can help you, and maybe helping you means figuring out how to help others too. Maybe you become the template for something bigger. Maybe this one moment expands into systemic change. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just help you and that's all this is. Would that be so terrible? Yes, actually. Because then I'm just another charity case. Another story rich people tell themselves to feel better about inequality they benefit from. So what do you want? The question comes out sharper than intended, frustration bleeding through. You want me to apologize for having money? You want me to pretend I can't help because helping makes you uncomfortable? Your pride is valid, but at what cost? When does pride become the thing that keeps you trapped? Her face flushes with anger. Don't you dare. Don't you dare turn this into some lesson about pride. You have no idea what it's like to need help so badly it physically hurts, but knowing that accepting help means admitting you failed. You have no idea what it's like to be on food stamps while people in line behind you judge you for buying steak when they think you should only eat ramen. You have no idea what it's like to have your worth measured by your bank account, to be invisible until someone wealthy decides you're worth seeing. You're right. I don't know what that's like. But I know what it's like to watch someone I love destroy themselves trying to survive a system designed to keep them poor. I know what it's like to have the power to help and choose not to because it's complicated or uncomfortable. And I know what regret tastes like when someone dies before you get the chance to make things right. They're standing too close now, both breathing hard, both stripped raw by honesty neither expected to share. The party continues around them, children playing, adults cleaning up, the world moving forward while they stand frozen in this moment of terrible understanding. If I say yes, she whispers, if I let you help beyond today, then what? You set up some scholarship, I apply, I get accepted because you've rigged the system in my favor, and then what? I go to nursing school while working full-time and raising my son alone? I magically find time and energy I don't have. I append my entire life based on the generosity of someone who might get bored and withdraw funding 6 months from now? The foundation doesn't withdraw funding. Programs are endowed. Money is committed long-term. You'd have guaranteed support for the full duration of your education plus transition time afterward. He's talking too fast, too eager, like he's closing a business deal instead of offering someone a lifeline. Childcare stipends. Housing assistance. Living expenses. Whatever barriers exist, we remove them. That's the point. Not charity. Structural support. And what do you get? The question hangs between them. What does he get? What does anyone get from helping strangers? Satisfaction? Ego gratification? The ability to sleep at night knowing he's less complicit in systemic inequality? Or something more complicated, connection to humanity, purpose beyond profit, the sensation of being needed instead of just useful? I get to feel like I matter, he says finally. I get to build something my mother would be proud of. I get to look at myself in the mirror and see someone who acts instead of just talks about acting. That selfish enough? She searches his face for lies, for manipulation, for the catch that's always hiding in offers too good to be true. There are going to be conditions. Things I won't accept. Boundaries that can't be crossed. Name them. You don't get to control my life. You don't get to tell me what to study or where to work or how to parent my son. This is support, not ownership. Agreed. You don't get to use this for publicity. No press releases. No foundation newsletters featuring my story. No using my poverty to make yourself look good. Agreed. And if I fail, if I can't handle school or I realize I'm not cut out for this or life gets too complicated, you don't get to make me feel guilty about it. You don't get to turn this into a lesson about wasted opportunities. Agreed. She's trembling now, adrenaline or fear or the weight of possibility crashing down on her. I need time. To think. To process. To figure out if I'm making the best decision for my son or the most desperate one. Take all the time you need. The program will exist whether you apply or not. But I hope you do. I hope you let yourself have this. Her son runs over again, grass-stained and sweaty and incandescent with joy. Mom, this is the best day of my entire life. Can we do this every year? She kneels down, pulling him into a hug that looks like she's trying to absorb him back into her body. We'll see, baby. We'll see. The party ends. Families depart with leftovers and tired children. Volunteers break down tables and pack up decorations. The field slowly returns to normal, the evidence of celebration disappearing like it was never there. But something has shifted. Something irreversible has happened in the space between a canceled cake order and a birthday party that felt like magic. He helps load the last boxes into cars, exchanges contact information with parents who promise to stay in touch, accepts gratitude he's not sure he deserves. The mother lingers by her car, her son already buckled in the passenger seat, fighting sleep after the adrenaline crash of too much excitement. I'll call you, she says. When I've decided. About the scholarship. Okay. Don't wait for me. Don't put your life on hold expecting me to say yes. I won't. But they both know he's lying. They both know something began today that doesn't have an ending yet, something that can't be neatly contained in a single birthday party or a scholarship program or any framework they try to build around it. This is the moment when lives intersect and neither walks away unchanged. She drives off as the sun starts setting, taillights disappearing around the corner, leaving him alone in an empty parking lot trying to remember what his life looked like before a woman canceled a cake order and he decided to care. His phone is full of messages from his assistant, from his business partners, from the world he abandoned for 3 days to play hero in someone else's story. He should feel guilty about the meetings he missed and the deals he potentially destroyed. Instead, he feels lighter than he has in years. 3 weeks later, his phone buzzes with an email notification. Scholarship application received. He opens it with shaking hands, sees her name at the top of the form, and reads her essay about wanting to become a nurse so her son never has to worry the way she worried, so she can give him the life he deserves, so she can be the version of herself that poverty has been preventing her from becoming. He reads it 3 times. Then he calls her. I got your application. I know. I hit submit an hour ago and have been staring at my phone ever since waiting for you to respond. Why did you wait 3 weeks? Because I needed to make sure I was doing this for the right reasons. Not because you pressured me. Not because I felt obligated. But because I actually want this for myself and my son. And do you? Yes. I'm terrified and I don't know if I can do this and I'm probably making a huge mistake. But yes. I want this. He closes his eyes, something tight in his chest finally releasing. You're going to be amazing. Don't put that pressure on me. I might fail spectacularly. Then you fail. But at least you tried. That's more than most people can say. 6 months later, she starts classes. He visits once a month, ostensibly checking on scholarship program metrics, actually just wanting to see her and her son, to hear about school stress and baseball games and the small victories that happen between crises. They become something he doesn't have a word for, not friends exactly, not family, but not strangers either. Something new. Something that matters. A year passes. She's thriving despite exhaustion, balancing impossible schedules with the determination of someone who knows this is her one chance. He watches her transform from someone beaten down by circumstances into someone discovering her own capability. Her son grows taller, more confident, his baseball skills sharpening with practice and good coaching. They're building a life that looks different than either imagined. Then the foundation announces the housing initiative, affordable homes for scholarship recipients, removing one more barrier between struggle and stability. She's the first applicant. He helps her move into a small house near the hospital where she'll eventually work, watches her son claim a bedroom that's actually his, watches her stand in a kitchen that doesn't belong to a landlord who can evict her on a whim. This is real, she whispers, touching countertops like they might disappear. This is actually happening. You made it real, he tells her. You said yes. That's the part that mattered. 2 years after a canceled cake order changed everything, she walks across a graduation stage to accept her nursing diploma. He sits with her son in the audience, both of them cheering too loud, both of them crying without shame. After the ceremony, she finds them in the crowd, diploma clutched in her hands, her face wet with tears. I did it. I actually did it. You did it, he confirms. And now? Now I take the job offer. Now I work as an actual nurse instead of an aide. Now I make enough money that my son doesn't have to worry. Now I figure out who I am when I'm not just surviving. She pauses, then reaches into her bag and pulls out an envelope. The foundation is hiring a program coordinator. Someone to work with scholarship recipients, to help them navigate the system, to be what you were for me. I want the job. If you'll have me. He takes the envelope, his throat tight with emotion he stopped trying to hide around her. You want to give back. I want to show up for others the way you showed up for me. Isn't that how this works? Someone helps you, then you help someone else, and maybe eventually the whole system shifts. He opens the envelope, schemes her application, sees the woman she's become reflected in careful words about dignity and agency and removing barriers instead of just treating symptoms. When can you start? Is that a yes? That's a definite yes. Her son, now 12 and shooting up toward teenager height, grins at both of them. Does this mean we're officially a team now? The man looks at the woman, sees her eyes welling up again, sees her nod. Yeah, he says, his voice rough. I think we're officially a team. They stand together in the crowd of celebrating graduates, 3 people who started as strangers and became something neither planned for but both needed. Not quite family. Not quite friends. Something better. Something that required courage from all of them. Something that began with a $47 cake and expanded into second chances neither believed existed. If this story reminds you that small acts of kindness can become something bigger than you imagined, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below telling us about a time someone showed up for you when you needed it most, or about a time you showed up for someone else and it changed both of you. And smash that like button if you believe that sometimes the best thing we can do is choose to act instead of walking away, even when it's complicated, even when we don't know how it ends, even when we're scared. Because transformation doesn't start with grand gestures. It starts with one person seeing another person and deciding they matter. It starts with a canceled cake order and a stranger who refused to let that be the end of the story. It starts with all of us choosing to be the kind of people who show up. Thanks for watching. Now go be someone's miracle.